It's Dr. Kevin Sansberry, and I'm excited to be back with you to discuss the topic of high stress conversations and how we can have them in a healthy manner. So, we all face situations in our personal and professional lives that can be difficult and stressful to navigate, and it'd be great to align on some tips and tricks on how to handle them. So, let's talk about it. Whether it's delivering bad news, addressing a conflict, or discussing sensitive topics, these conversations can be challenging and emotional. But with the right approach, we can have these conversations in a way that promotes understanding, empathy, and overall positive outcomes. In this talk, I'll share some strategies and techniques for having high stress conversations in a healthy and productive way based on research backed principles of conflict resolution. Experts and researchers alike have identified several key principles that can help us navigate high stress conversations in a healthy and productive way. Let's take a look at some of these principles and how we can apply them in our own lives. First, you want to separate the person from the problem. In any high stress conversation, it's important to focus on the issue at hand rather than attacking the person. By separating the person from the problem, we can avoid making things personal and keeping the conversation focused on finding solutions. This principle is supported by the research, and it's shown that if we separate the person from the problem, it can lead to more positive outcomes and overall better relationships. Second, using I statements instead of you. So, when expressing our own needs and feelings in a high stress conversation, it's important to use I statements rather than you statements. For example, saying, I feel upset when you do X is more effective than saying, you always do X and it makes me angry. This principle is based on research that shows that using these I statements can help reduce defensiveness and increase understanding in high stress conversations. So, the next one is listening actively and reflectively. So, one of the most important principles in resolving conflict is active listening. This means giving the other person our full attention, showing empathy and understanding. And you want to reflect back on what you heard so you can ensure that you're understanding their perspective. By demonstrating active listening, you can build trust to create a more productive conversation. This principle, especially reflecting back what you heard, all again leads to positive relationships. The next one is when we're in the heat of the moment and as we're trying to collaborate with somebody, you want to collaborate to find a win win solution. And any high stress conversation, it's important to look for win win solutions that benefit both parties. And you want to collaborate and work together to find those creative solutions that meets everyone's needs. And the last thing you want to do in the moment is focus on interests rather than positions. So this is called integrative bargaining. And what this looks like is when you're negotiating a solution in a high stress conversation, you want to focus on the underlying interest rather than the position that each party holds. You can find common ground and create solutions that meet everyone's needs even easier. So this is kind of the underlying aspect of finding a win-win solution. You want to focus on interests. So now that we've discussed the principles of having these high stress conversations based in the research, let's talk about a model that people can follow for having these conversations that'll lead to more healthy and productive outcomes. The model I'll share with you is called the DESC model. DESC stands for describe, express, specify, and consequence. So let's go through them. D stands for describe. So you want to describe the situation or behavior that is causing the conflict without blame or judgment. Stick to the facts and avoid making assumptions or generalizations. E stands for express. Express your feelings about the situation or behavior using I statements rather than you statements. This can help the other person understand how their actions are affecting you without feeling attacked or criticized. S stands for specify. Specify what you would like the other person to do differently or what actions you think would help resolve the conflict. Be specific, concrete, rather than making vague requests. And finally, C. That stands for consequence. Explain the consequences of not resolving the conflict, both for yourself and for the other person. This can help motivate the other person to take action and work towards a solution. And like we said before, based on the research, that solution will be you all focused on each other's interests and not positions, as well as looking for common ground and a win-win solution. Using the DESC model can help keep the conversation focused and productive while also promoting understanding and empathy. It can also help avoiding escalating emotions or getting sidetracked by irrelevant details. With practice, this model can become a valuable tool for navigating high-stress conversations in a healthy and effective way. Having high stress conversations is never easy, but by following these research backed principles of conflict resolution, we can navigate them in a healthy and a productive way. By separating the person from the problem, using I statements, listening actively and reflectively, Collaborating to find win win solutions and focusing on interests rather than positions, we can find creative solutions and build better relationships. So remember that every conversation is an opportunity to learn and grow. And with practice, you can become more confident and effective in your communication skills. Thank you for joining me today, and I wish you all the best in your future. I'm Dr. Kevin Sansberry, signing out.